Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings-Danny SportsWrap. It's always brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling, and we had a lovely weekend weather-wise. I hope you got to enjoy it. And sports-wise, it was a mixed bag as you usually get. There were some fun things, certainly the Chiefs getting rolling and trotting out their regulars for a little bit, a little taste of Patrick Mahomes, a little entertainment on the television broadcast. We'll get into that a little bit. Sporting Kansas City continues to be a dominant force in MLS as they went to Dallas and continued their unbelievable road form. As since the start of July, they have won 5 games and drawn 1 against some of the best opposition in the Western Conference and elsewhere. And another really, really strong performance and entertaining performance as well for Peter Vermeer's crew. And over the weekend, a little sense of deja vu and the wrong kind. Groundhog Day type of effect at Kauffman Stadium as in came the St. Louis Cardinals and their fans, and it was no fun for Royals fans and the Royals themselves. This is a long-term malady for the Kansas City Royals as the Cardinals have won 2/3 of the games, plus against the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. We'll dig into that. The PGA Tour winds down their regular season, and they continue to roll out long playoffs including a whole lot of people. And we'll have some other news and notes and quotes as well. It's Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap. It's always brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Check with Jeff and his fine crew for your HVAC needs. And we will continue rolling next and get to both of the kinds of football, starting it up next right here on Monday Musings.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Time to spend a few minutes with my good friend Jeff Dillon from Dillon's Heating and Cooling. And Jeff, what differentiates your company from others in the industry?
Plain and simple, we're honest. We have integrity, and we're going to do things right the first time. There's way too many companies out there that lie, cheat, hide things from the homeowner or customer, and we're not about that. It's kind of funny sometimes. I actually am so honest with some people, it kind of surprises them. But sometimes it's good for business, sometimes it's bad for business. But ultimately, it's the kind of business that I want to run, is an honest one.
And that family way of treating things is part of your slogan, and it's also part of one of your great features that you offer to customers.
Our slogan is like family. Our most popular maintenance plan is called the Family Plan. It's very similar to a lot of ones out there. The little tweak that we do to ours, 1% off for every 2 years. They have a continued maintenance plan with us. If they have a maintenance plan for 10 years, then we give them 5% off, no questions asked.
You can find out more about Dillon's Heating and Cooling and all their great range of services at dillonsheatingandcooling.com. That's Dillon's with an S. The phone number, 913-214-1343. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. We're here once again with Dr. Brad Woodall from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Springtime, good weather's finally here. People want to stay active, and it's your job to make sure that they can stay active, and be healthy.
Danny, we see a lot of not just weekend warriors, but people that every day are having that want to get back to activity. Whether you're starting with walking, jogging, or maybe that first 5K of the year, we want to help you out. We specialize in taking care of all ages, from kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, but absolutely specialize in getting you back to full function and keeping you in great shape.
So in short, how do we go about doing that?
The first thing is to schedule a consultation with one of our doctors and therapists so we can see how you move and how you're supposed to move. Based on our assessment, we can put together a short treatment plan and a set of goals to help you both feel better, function better, and most importantly, stay better for this year and many years to come.
Learn more at asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back to Monday Musings, Danny Sports Wrap, and I guess the message here is that I'm a bit of a trooper for you this Monday because actually on Saturday night I had to consume a whole lot of different things. Went out, sort of had a late birthday celebration with some friends, although it wasn't supposed to be that, and I came back and I had to devour the Chiefs, and I had to devour the Royals, and I had to devour Sporting, all in a short period of time, and I managed to do it. It got late, but so what? I actually did watch most of the Kansas City Chiefs game, a first preseason game. That's something I probably wouldn't really do if I wasn't going to pop on this microphone on Monday and talk about it. But I can't really say that I didn't enjoy it somewhat. Now, television product for a preseason game of this nature is basically sort of an infomercial for the team, and there was plenty of that. But there was also some information, and there was some football, and that's what people really wanted, although they didn't get nearly as much football from Patrick Mahomes as they wanted. They were not promised, but it was indicated that the starters would play the first quarter. They would, indeed, except for one Patrick Mahomes, who played 4 plays. The one drive, they got a first down on the first play on a run. He threw a couple of passes. The last one was incomplete, and that would be it for Patrick Mahomes in what would eventually become a 19-16 victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we are starting with the Chiefs because certainly, as we'll get to, Sporting Kansas City absolutely totally deserves the headline spot as far as Monday Musings are concerned. And their performance of late has been really amazing, and we'll get to it in a couple of minutes. But the Chiefs are fresh and new. It's the first preseason game. They are the favorites in the National Football League right now. They rule the city, as does Patrick Mahomes. So, well, let's just give it to the Chiefs this time around. And even though it was a preseason game, even though it was 19-16, even though until the end where each team scored a touchdown in the reasonably late going, with the Chiefs getting the last one, it was kind of a lackluster game at times, but there were enough sparks and fun things to observe that you can get some, musings from me about this particular game. Both the lines looked very good, I thought, in the game. The offensive line looked strong early. The first team got a couple strong runs from Clyde Edwards-Helaire that were extremely well blocked. They did hold up throughout in the time when they were playing basically in front of Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne. There wasn't much pressure on the quarterback. On the other side of the ball, the defensive line looked pretty strong, was shutting down the running game reasonably well. They got some good performances from some regular folks and some irregular folks, as well as some of the highlight players in the game would include, to me, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I thought he looked good. Linebacker Omari Cobb. He is sort of a long shot player. Has been on the team for a couple of years, kicking on and off the practice squad, and he had himself a very strong game. Byron Pringle, who, of course, K-State fans love to have succeed and thrive. He got a touchdown catch from Chad Henne in the early going. Much of this game was consumed with the number 3 quarterback battle, and the significance of that, I don't know. If the Chiefs get down to their 3rd quarterback this year at any point in time, then the season will be lost anyway. But it was a time for getting upwards of 20 passes for Anthony Gordon and Shane Buechele, and each of them had their moments. They were mostly throwing the ball short, but reasonably effectively, and Shane Buechele did lead a game-winning drive towards the end, and to the point of the reserves as well. The defense came up with a stop after the Chiefs had scored with about a minute and a half to go to preserve the victory. Darius Fountain, a young receiver trying to make a mark. He had the most catches in the game with 4, and he's been around for a couple of years in the National Football League, but he impressed. Among the bigger names, Chris Jones, he was very good in a short stint at the start, and we'll get to the sort of goofy part a little bit later on. And Jerick McKinnon at running back was also showing the flashes that have a lot of people excited about the fact that they can use him in a variety of roles. Tommy Townsend, the punter, uncorked a 66-yarder that got down to the 1-yard line. Probably a punt they did like to save for another day, but it was fun to see anyway. And Townsend was a little bit hit and miss last year, I would say, as a punter. Some of the vagaries you get as far as training camp and a preseason game as well were shown in the 80-yard touchdown pass that Trey Lance threw. And for 49er fans, this podcast isn't really designed for you, but there was plenty to be excited about by Trey Lance. Anyway, that was an over-the-top deep ball to a second receiver. The first look was not open, and it was thrown basically at the expense of rookie safety Devon Key, who has kind of been Devon Keys. He's been kind of the talk of camp, as a matter of fact. But then you get in the game, you make a mistake. Not like it's going to put away all the good work that he's done, but it just shows that sometimes you get a little slap in the face when things are starting to go well for you. And he looked like he was, and may still be, a player who is going to play a lot of football for the Kansas City Chiefs. But as I said, and Chiefs fans consuming this on television get their goofy moments. Chris Jones does yoga on the sideline with Kay Adams, who certainly has an energetic presence on the sideline. She's from the NFL Network, and she had to work hard to get Chris Jones to do a little yoga, but he did, and it was kind of funny. And then in the third quarter, the broadcast included maybe the longest on-field sideline interview of a player I've ever heard. As Trent Green got the opportunity to ask several questions of Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes doesn't end up saying a whole lot, but I think Chiefs fans can never get enough. And if they only got 4 plays of Patrick Mahomes, then why couldn't they be satisfied, indeed, by getting a very lengthy interview with Patrick Mahomes? And that they did while the football action was going on in the background. So the Chiefs, all in all, I'd say it was a good night. Not any significant injuries. You win, which is better than losing, although it really doesn't carry that much import. Patrick Mahomes gets out there, gets his feet wet, but that's about it. And now they'll move on to another week of preseason play, and the more important aspect, the practices and things like that. And next time around, there'll probably be a little bit more action for the regulars as well. So all in all, a good night for the Chiefs, and I think a decent amount of entertainment. Heck, if I can be reasonably entertained by a preseason football game, then you know it's something. Well, they're playing real games in MLS, and Sporting Kansas City has something special going. They are really rolling. They have won 4 and drawn 1 in 5 road games since the start of July. They go to Dallas, a place that Dallas had an 18-game home unbeaten streak and had 6 consecutive good results against Sporting Kansas City, and Sporting just really pretty much dominated the proceedings in a 2-0 win. It was a very impressive performance. Dallas did have a couple of moments where they actually hit the woodwork 3 times in the game, but Sporting Kansas City really carried the play in this and looked sharp. They fielded a really full-force lineup. Johnny Russell back, Daniel Shalhoub back, Alan Pulido back. They took some criticism for not really taking that Cup game on Tuesday night very significantly in the game against Lyon, and they got walloped in that game. And I think we saw why Peter Vermees opted for that, because he had a fresh team that looked just absolutely fantastic for an important Western Conference MLS game. And their 2 talismen, as it were, really had outstanding goals early in each half. Alan Pulido had almost no space on the near post to put a real goal scorer's goal in the 12th minute, as he was fed by Yadi Kinda and Shalhoub and poked it ahead, and it was 1-0 for Sporting. They controlled most of the action the rest of the half, although it was a spirited and entertaining game. There's no question about that. Dallas always plays reasonably hard, although they would play a little bit better, I would say, in the second half. And then early in the second half was Dallas's best time, and they had a couple of opportunities to score. They had one that had to be reviewed by VAR that came off the bottom of the crossbar and came down right basically on the goal line, but not quite past it, so it wasn't a goal. And then they were made to pay for that as Shallowy with a rocket off a feed from Johnny Russell in the 63rd minute, and that put Sporting ahead 2-0. Little bit of action from Dallas then, but really after the Sporting got a great opportunity from Polito in the 72nd minute that was turned away. That was the last real outstanding scoring opportunity in the game. And Sporting would go on to take the 2-0 win, only allowing a couple of shots on goal. Tim Melia didn't have to stand on his head, as he has in some games over the last month or so. And all in all, just Sporting just looks like they are they're the class of the Western Conference right now. They're ahead by 2 points, and they are playing like it. And it was a very impressive victory. They'll continue their busy schedule with a home game on Wednesday, and they are worth seeing right now. And one of the aspects of the game that was very unusual was 10 minutes of stoppage time at the end. Peter Vermees will address that in a second. But all in all, he was really impressed with his own squad.
I thought from the opening whistle all the way to the very end, and I thought we were playing another game. Actually, after the 90 minutes, I'm blown away at 10 minutes of extra time. I'm blown away. But we managed the game as a team in a good way. I'm proud of the guys. They played. They were good with the ball. 2 great goals. Defended, fought for everything, sacrificed bodies to block stuff. Didn't give up. So very, very, very happy with the guys and happy for them and proud of them because I know that, they want it. They want it, and they're fighting for it. So obviously there's a lot of good teams in this league, and we're just trying to compete with them. And so I appreciate the effort of the guys. I appreciate the mentality. It was big time.
Peter, you kind of mentioned that 10 minutes stoppage time there. We're getting an explanation as to what they saw that somehow led to 10 minutes.
I have absolutely no idea because here's the thing. They were fouling us, and they were yellow cards. I can't help it that when you foul somebody, as aggressive as they did, the trainer had to come on. That's their fault. That's not our fault. It's not our fault for causing those fouls. They shouldn't get the benefit as well. They shouldn't be allowed to foul us and then get 10 minutes of extra time. I mean, I actually thought that he was doing a good job in the game because it's not an easy game. It's a battle. I get it. I understand that piece. I actually thought he was doing a good job, but I'm appalled at the 10 minutes at the end. I just think it doesn't make sense to me. We weren't doing anything. We played the same way throughout the entire game. I can't help it that they're fouling us, and they're the ones who are causing the stoppages in the game. They're the ones who are fouling players, and sometimes players require somebody to come on and take a look at him, or the player sits down for 30 seconds trying to recover from the hit he took. Happens all the time. 10 minutes, no chance then.
On a brighter note, Daniel Shallowy, another goal and assist tonight. We've gone through it so many times at this point this year, just the contributions he made. But what do you think about, I don't know if you've had a chance to see that play, but he nutmegs the defender really quickly, and then a very short, direct wind-up and a very quick release on that shot. Is it at this point where it's just kind of blind, excellent form from him because everything he touches seems to turn into a goal?
There's no doubt that he's in form for sure. But you're also feeling good, and you're confident in your areas of the field that you're trying to get into. And for him, it's in and around the box, and he feels good around there. And you also talk about that. You talk about the first goal, the build up to that. The slip by Gotti Kinda. Allen just what a great run of play to score with his left foot. Johnny, his first game back, he's not 90 minutes fit, but he fought all the way through to 100 minutes. Performance by those guys really was. Those guys all worked really hard. Gotti was monster. I thought Roger was. I thought Remy did a great job. Really disciplined in the middle of the park. Won and broke up a lot of plays. Good, really good all-around performance by the guys. I think opening whistle to the final whistle. We didn't let anything bother us. We played how we can play. I thought we were really good on the ball. I thought the ball was our best friend today, and the guys took a lot of pride and discipline in keeping it. Not easy, pragmatic at times, but in a good way. And then the final piece is that, we scored the chances that we needed to at the right times. And I also think we did a really good job on set pieces. And like I said, we sacrificed our bodies to stop from anything going to the goal. And Timmy was his usual self. He was, he was good in and around the goal. He was brave, picked the right moments to do things. And he was actually good on the ball with his feet. So all of that helped immensely in us keeping the ball as well.
It was a second straight shutout for Tim Melia. First place Sporting Kansas City is now 11-4-4 on the season, 37 points. And it was the first home loss in 12 months for Dallas, as I mentioned before. And Sporting now returns to Children's Mercy Park for the first time in a little while for an MLS game on Wednesday for a real good showdown against the Portland Timbers. Portland maybe not playing as well as they sometimes do, but they usually pick it up as the season goes along. That's a 7:30 game on Wednesday for Sporting Kansas City as they continue to be a team that has the eyes of MLS and the soccer world on them, and they deserve it. They're an exciting team that scores goals, multiple goals almost every game. And it's really looking like this can be some kind of a vintage season for Sporting Kansas City. Of course, you got playoffs. There's Sporting soccer is a game where you can lose 1-0 and dominate things, but they are playing some special soccer right now under Peter Vermees, and it really is something to behold, and they deserve all the attention, praise that they can gobble up right now. And as I said, the Chiefs got the A slot here on this podcast because, they're the Chiefs, right? But Sporting Kansas City certainly deserves their due. Well, right now it's not all that much fun as far as the Royals are concerned overall. We'll touch on some baseball ahead, some notes, some other things that we need to wrap up for this particular weekend as we have our Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, right here on the Reasonably Irreverent podcast, and we are happy to have you aboard, and we got more next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Michael Barber, the CEO and founder of Microlight Corporation of America, the world leaders in laser therapy. And Michael, tell us a little bit about your product.
Our device is using a particular wavelength and power to reduce pain and swelling. My background is surgical lasers, but I've been involved with this particular device now for about the last 20 years, actually.
And I know that it works because I've had it used on me as well. And tell us about the relationship you have with your company and Canaway.
It's what I call a strategic business relationship in that Canaway, the leader in the field of the cannabinoid systems and CBD oil, but our device used in conjunction with Canaway CBD oil gives a better pain relief outcome for the patient.
And if you want to get that pain relief outcome like I did, you can reach their local representative, Sherry McCants, at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables. You can wear a mask if you want, or not. It's your choice. Other than that, we're open 11:30 every single day. So come see us at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
Let's have a brief conversation with David Schmidt from Pro Millennial. David, what differentiates you from other financial organizations?
I would say the passion we have for seeing our clients succeed is probably paramount to what we do here. There's no joy greater than watching a client accumulate wealth. I had a client that I've had for many years was able to buy his dream warehouse. Nothing too extravagant, but we had a savings plan in place and was able to see him fulfill his dreams.
And what else motivates you in this industry?
Well, lately it's been finding out inconsistencies in the marketplace, ferreting out some more than questionable ideas out there that what we're seeing with Bitcoin and a few of these other cryptocurrencies right now. I'm of the opinion where if it's untraceable, it really needs to be regulated in a big way right now.
To get more information and advice from David, visit promillennial.com or call 816-221-7775. That's 816-221-7775.
Hey everybody, Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing here. For almost 10 years, we've been a locally owned and operated family business. At Easton, we work on every job with one thing in mind: integrity matters. I grew up in central Kansas, was raised on the values of respecting hard work. We run our company every day on that value set. At Easton, we always make decisions based on the ethical, right thing for the customer. That's what integrity means to us. So if you have any questions about your roof, give me and my team a call, 913-257-5426, Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and we have some fun things ahead, but it's time now to enter into the misery index portion of our program, and that means talking about the Kansas City Royals as they lose 7-2 on Sunday, completing a 3-game sweep to the St. Louis Cardinals. They were outscored 22-6. They currently are on a 1-5 homestand. The Houston Astros, who are one of the best teams in baseball, obviously, come to town for 4 games now, starting Monday night, and it's just not good on multiple levels. In the last 4 games, the Royals have scored 8 runs. In the last go-round through the rotation, basically nobody has been good. Chris Bubich yesterday was dreadful and got roughed up for 7 runs, all the Cards would need in 1 1/3 innings, and that boosted his ERA over 5, which means that everybody who is running out there in the current 6-man rotation has an ERA over 5, except for Carlos Hernandez, who has really been the only slightly bright spot in the rotation, and I don't know if he's even considered to be the person that they're looking to be part of the future of the pitching rotation. So basically, you have to look for individual things, and individual things for popular guys. And certainly 2 of the most popular on the team, maybe the most popular on the team, did things that were worth noting, and that provides a little salve to the wound that was the weekend. And I'll get into more of the wound here in a minute. Salvador Perez hit his milestone 30th home run, a monster shot, a Salvi splash in the game on Sunday, providing the only 2 runs. And Whit Merrifield over the weekend broke the Royals' record for consecutive games played. It was 421. It's now 423 after he played yesterday. He broke the record on Saturday. And he's just been a consistent, persistent, grinding type of ball player. He's a fine player. He's not having his greatest season offensively this year, but certainly all congratulations to Whit Merrifield, who had to play for far too long in the minor leagues before he got his major league chance. And once he got his major league chance, he does not want to let it go. And so he is on a streak, and it's going to take a lot to get him out of there. He's had a really bad foot and a really bad shoulder over the past end of last season and early this season at times, and has played through that. So, it's going to take something like, surgery or a break for him to get out of the lineup. So congratulations to those 2 guys. And Salvador Perez, he keeps hitting a home run every couple days, and that makes the possibility of him getting to 40 home runs and becoming only the second catcher ever to do that a much more real possibility. The weekend just highlights what has gone on for years now, and it's no fun when it's time for the Cardinals to come to town, because they get a lot of fans there. They have people who travel across the state, and there's plenty of Cardinals fans around here to buy up the tickets and be, 60%, 2/3 of the crowd, maybe more sometimes, maybe a little less, depends on your viewpoint, I guess. They stick out because they wear red, and they have a good time, because the Cardinals all-time are 43-21 at Kauffman Stadium, almost a 700 winning percentage. And, of course, they won 5 out of 6 in this year's series and have dominated the series overall, but even more at Kauffman Stadium. And that certainly is no fun either. No fun either, but maybe not unexpected, is the latest news on Adalberto Mondesi. He is back here in Kansas City, and he's not back here in Kansas City from his rehab assignment to start playing for the Royals. He's back here to have himself reevaluated yet again, as he has some oblique tightness. He played very sparingly during his 13 games that he was down in the minor leagues, just a smattering of at-bats, and now who knows what they are going to see when they evaluate him. He says he has tightness in his oblique. Obliques are funny. They're difficult to judge. I'm sure there's an incredible amount of frustration, but that frustration almost is turning a little bit to a yawn as far as Mondesi is concerned, because it's all too expected, and we'll see what plays out over the rest of the season, and if he even gets into action in baseball calendar year 2021. One note away from the Royals, Honus Wagner, his card, the iconic card that is the gold standard of all sports memorabilia, sold yesterday for $6.6 million. One of them did. There's only 60 of these cards that exist. There's various stories. I was reading an article as to why there are so few. There's all kinds of different theories. There's a good story on ESPN's website if you want to go and read that. It's a very lengthy article about the Honus Wagner card. But all I can say is that if you get $6.6 million to purchase a piece of baseball memorabilia, then you got a whole lot of money to do a whole bunch of other things too, because that's just fun money. That's just piddle away money, to be polite. And so $6.6 million for a Honus Wagner card on Sunday. Let's turn to golf, and it was the last tournament of the PGA Tour's regular season before they go to the playoffs. And it provided all kinds of storylines, as if you really enjoy the fascination of people trying to make the playoffs, keep their jobs, keep their card, win a tournament. It had it all at the Wyndham Championship, and also showed again on the PGA Tour just how difficult it is to win. There are all kinds of things going on here. Let's just touch on a few. There's probably 50 interesting stories from this particular tournament. But what it ends up with is Kevin Kisner winning the tournament in a 6-man playoff. That tied the record. Heck, there could have been 11 people in this playoff the way it played out down the stretch. Just about everybody was in the mix. And in the end, it was a 6-man playoff. And we saw Adam Scott miss a very short putt in the first playoff hole very badly. As a matter of fact, a 4-foot putt didn't even touch the hole. And then Kevin Kisner stuffs it in there on the second hole, and he wins the playoff. That's important for him. He's been a fine player who's had a little bit of a slump, but he had been 0-5 in playoffs. Just imagine, you sort of do okay in the playoffs and go 2-3 headed in. That's 2 more tournament wins on an already good resume for Kevin Kisner, who's hoping to make that this makes enough noise, and he'll make enough noise in the playoffs maybe to get Ryder Cup consideration. But Russell Henley didn't even make the playoff, and he looked like he had the tournament in complete control. He led the entire tournament. He at one point got to 17 under, and the playoff would be at 15 under, but he made 3 bogeys in a 4-hole stretch early in the back 9, and then he 3-putted the 18th hole from just 22 feet, and he missed a 3-foot putt to get into the playoff. He earlier had missed a putt on the 11th hole. They couldn't have been more than 18 inches, and this guy's a good putter. That's the best part of his game. So the pressure is there, certainly, and it marked the 13th consecutive PGA Tour event that the third-round leader didn't win the tournament. The last time a third-round leader won the tournament was when Phil Mickelson won the PGA Championship. So that's really just is a testimony to how hard it is to go out there with the lead. And what you see is that the leader, the guys in the last group, they never shoot a score as good as everybody else. The players without the pressure on there go out and shoot well under par, which is what happened in this particular tournament. Everybody who was in the playoff, everybody who was in the mix to be in the playoff shot under par, and many significantly under par, and Russell Henley shot 1 over par in the final round, and he doesn't even get in the playoff, and that means that instead of actually winning the tournament, which he looked like he was going to, he actually finished in a tie for 7th, and that is a considerable amount of money out there, although Russell Henley has won 3 tournaments on the PGA Tour and has been a consistent money winner, so that probably isn't that significant to him. It's the winning that is, and he's had 3 54-hole leads this year, and he has won none of them. Justin Rose needed a big tournament to get into the top 125 and make the playoffs. Now, he is exempt for next year and has his card anyway, but it's a matter of pride to get into the playoffs, and he bogeyed the 18th hole, and that knocked him out of the playoffs. And not only did it knock him out of the playoffs, it knocked him out of the top 125, and it knocked in Chesson Hadley. And that was an incredible story, too. Hadley made a hole-in-one on the 16th hole on his way to a 62 much earlier in the day, and when Rose stumbled, that meant that Hadley was into the top 125, and he needed to be in the top 125 to keep his card, and he was very emotional, a really cool interview after the round, and tears were shed, and it was the first hole-in-one he said he's ever made. It sounded like maybe as a professional, but at the very least, it was the first one he's made as a professional in 11 years on the PGA Tour, and shot 62 to save his job. And we see the vagaries of it as well with a local golfer, Bryce Garnett. He was inside the top 125. He had to make the cut in order to somewhat ensure that. He was 119th, and although he didn't play great on the weekend, he squeezed in just enough, shot 1 under par, did make the cut, and he finished 123rd. He dropped 4 spots, but still that was enough to keep his job for another year. The Missouri Western product, Bryce Garnett, gets another year on the PGA Tour. So storylines abounding all over on the PGA Tour. Really, really fascinating stuff. And finally, back to soccer a little bit. The English Premier League debuted this weekend, and there was incredible action all over the place. And if you are a soccer fan or an EPL fan, this was really a great weekend. There were goals left and right. The fans were back, full stadiums, great atmospheres. And I finished off my weekend by watching the DVR from earlier in the day of an absolutely pulsating 1-0 win for Tottenham over the defending champs Man City. It was an absolutely fascinating and really exciting game. End-to-end action. Sounds funny when a game is 1-0 that there can be so much excitement and action, but there were, and it was over 70,000 people in a packed stadium waving white flags. It was the coolest scene you could ever remember, and it was really an exhilarating way for me to conclude a sports weekend, and I hope you had a weekend that somewhat came close to that, be it a sports weekend or grilling weekend or a weekend with your family or out at the lake. Anything that lifts your spirits, that's a cool thing, and that certainly was part of it for me in a topsy-turvy weekend of sports that we talk about on Mondays on Monday Musings. Danny Sports Wrap, and it's always presented by Dillon's Heating and Cooling.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Dillon's Heating and Cooling, treating you like family with expert and affordable HVAC services.